I'm looking a little like a wild child tonight. Okay, here we go. Here we go. Hey guys. So we'll let the notifications go out. How's everybody doing? It is truly Libra season in full swing, beloveds. Full swing. And I wanted to come here and on a little bit of Wisdom Wednesday. We got into this a little bit last night during the readings, and thank you everybody that came out last night for Miss Lollipop's Tarot Shop, her last appearance as Lollipop, and her appearances now as she relaunches will be Golden Hour Intuitive, so we'll check her out at that point. But I wanted to get on tonight here and just do a quick in and out teaching about Libra season and finding balance. Finding this balance between ourselves and our relationship with others is the crux, I feel like, of what's happening during this year's season. This 2019 is such a pivotal year as we're hurtling towards some major changes in 2020, especially at the beginning. 2020 is going to be, it's the beginning of a brand new decade. Nobody's talking about that too much, and I think we need to start looking at that as we go forward. But Libra season is the beginning of the second half of the Zodiac cycle, right? The second half of the Zodiac year. And as such, we come into the first sign where we're really dealing with our outside world, our outside relationships. We're dealing with everything external. And Libra, just the symbolism of Libra in and of itself, the scales, denotes we must find balance. Libras are cardinal air signs in the zodiac, so they are initiators, but Libra is also ruled by Venus, the planet of love and actually money. But it's the planet of relationships, right? It's the energy of relationships. So as we're looking at Libra season, we're in the midst of it. We'll be at the full moon come the 13th of October. And I want us to really take the time to examine our interpersonal relationships and, very importantly, examine our relationship with spirit, with the spirit realm as a primarily spiritual being. Examine those relationships there, because if that relationship isn't intact, if that relationship is floundering, if that relationship is a little weaker, and what do I mean by that relationship being weaker? If you can't honestly sit down and say to yourself, objectively and truthfully, that in your time of solitude, in your time of meditation, in your time of prayer, at the very least during that moment in time, those moments in time, if you can't sit down and say that you receive either messages or input, if you're not getting anything during that very personal time, then I think that you need to check your relationship. If you're not hearing anything at all, or gaining any additional peace, or getting an inspiration for the rest of your day, or getting clarity on your day, your week, your month, your life, then that relationship between you, your spirit being, and the spirit realm is suffering. And that's something you need to bring into balance. Then perhaps, just as the thumbnail showed, you are putting yourself so far down and others so far up in the scale and the balance of everything that you're suffering for it. We have to bring it into balance where we're getting as much from others as we're giving to others, that we're receiving a return on our investment. And Libra looks at that. Libra season asks us to say, are others treating us fairly, right? Justice. Are we getting justice out of our interpersonal interactions? And are we being just to ourselves? We have to find the balance during Libra season. And this is what I personally believe we should be focusing on as far as our manifestation game. We should be focusing on the relationships third dimensionally, and very much the relationships in the fifth dimension and beyond. Because as we come into 2020, if we haven't divested ourselves of the distractions, of the energy suckers, of the, hello, Miss Renelle, of the imbalance in our lives, if we haven't balanced that out by the time January, I believe it is 11th or 12th, one of the two is an eclipse day. And I believe it's new moon as well. Or it's the full moon in Capricorn, it's one. Probably the full moon. If we haven't balanced ourselves by that point, towards the end of this Capricornian, Cancerian south node, north node axis, then when we are challenged to ascertain, to see things for what they really are on a spiritual level, we're going to be blown here and there and not know, we're not going to have a good footing. We're not going to have a clear, good footing on how to build our life, our purpose, we're going to be listening, unfortunately, I think, to people that may not have our best interests at heart. So we really have to learn. Libra season is all about, can we please learn to discern who has our best interest at heart, be okay with saying, you know what, I'm not getting as much from you as I'm giving to you. This is imbalance. And as we come into a full moon in Aries, we're going to be wanting to express that balance, right? Our emotions are going to, that imbalance, our emotions are going to be higher, perhaps a tad bit more aggressive. And that energetically, I'm not saying that astrology tells you everything, but what I try to do here is help you understand how to harness or utilize the energies that are in the sky in a practical way, and then in an esoteric or spiritual way. So we're coming into a time, and you're probably noticing in your own life that when things are out of balance and people are not treating you right, you're probably getting a lot more expressive about it, or you're feeling some type of way about it a lot more than you normally do. And that's because it's out of whack. It's not fair. So Renelle asks, do I think it's going to be about balance in 2020? From what I am, as I'm studying and learning and looking to the future, I think 2020 is going to be not necessarily about balance, but about upheaval, a rebalancing, a shift, a changing, a resetting. And I've been saying this all year, that it is imperative that we learn to discern people, situations, motivations, manifestation, all of that, discern how to live our lives spirit-led, and it is critical. It is mission critical so that we'll be able to navigate the future. Because there's going to be a lot of people that are going to pop up and they're going to look like, hello, darling. They're going to look like they are true and they're speaking truth and that they mean good and that, we need to listen to them. There could be another occult type leader that raises up, or could be some sort of religious leader or governmental leader or something that is going to try to elevate himself to a certain position. And then, a lot of people are going to believe that person. I'm not even saying when that it's male or female at this point. So that's why I feel like becoming into balance and having a true sense of justice and integrity. And that integrity starts with you. And integrity starts with how you allow people to treat you and how you treat others. That fairness, that integrity, and that being spirit-led, being true to your true self. Living in your truth and loving you and your truth in totality. And being able to express that in a loving fashion outside of ourselves. Hello, Sarah. Hello, Koala. So finding this balance is what I believe we should be seeking to manifest during this time. So, other months it's been a very third dimensional, like, manifest this, manifest that. This is much more idealistic, right? We're in Libra season. This is idealistic. Manifesting a different way that you view the world. Manifesting a different way that you view yourself and bringing that into balance. Releasing finally. Like, we've been building up to this whole purge, release, release, release. This full moon, we're being pushed to the point where we've got to release things that are weighing us down and are keeping us out of spiritual balance, out of the balance of love and integrity. It's not really going to be yes, it's always a choice. You could choose not to. But this is an opportune time to really look at who is in your life and what are they giving and what are you getting? And what are you giving? And are they helping you to evolve? Are they showing you love in the way that you deserve to be shown and wish to be shown? Are they supporting you in everything that you're doing and who you are and your purpose and your plan? Are they bringing you balance and peace? Or are they bringing you kind of Five of Swords-ish kind of stuff? Hey, Quartz Quantum. Do you think we're going to get, Vernell asks, do you think we're going to get more discernment from Mighty God or the higher power, as some other people say? Yes, I think that discernment is there for the taking. I think more discernment, a greater sense of discernment is there for us. I think that portal of discernment has been open almost the entire year. It really, really, really opened during Cancerian season when the true North Node moved into Cancer and the true South Node moved into Capricorn. Because that was literally saying to us, as a collective, look at how you've structured your entire world. Look at all those things that you've held so dear to you. Look at it hard, how you've done everything. The governmental, the structure, the day-to-day, all of that you have put in place. All of those mores, those social norms, the religious beliefs, everything. Look at it. Is it fitting you any longer? Is it serving you any longer? Or do you need to kind of come back to the spiritual instead of only really being focused on that earthly energy? Can you come up? Will you come up to the Cancerian spiritual home? Are you willing to come home spiritually? Are you willing to come home spiritually? Are you willing to be mothered by spirit, fathered by spirit, nurtured by spirit, and understand that that is where your true home is, not here on earth? See, that's the time frame that we're in. This is the season that we're in, and everything that's going on around us, especially this last half of the year, is meant to shift us upward to a higher level of spiritual discernment and spiritually being led. This first part of the year was all about our internal home, health, yada, 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 yada. Ego. Now it's the direct opposite of ego, and what is going on? How do our relationships affect our ego? How do our relationships affect our home? How do our relationships affect our sense of self? How do our relationships affect our health? How do our relationships affect how we view ourselves and what we portray? Are we portraying, Leo? Are we portraying what we want others to see, or are we portraying our true self? So Libra is saying this is a true up time. This is the time we got to get ourselves in balance. I want to just like see. Oh, yeah. So I wanted to pull a card, and so I pulled the Queen of Crystals from the Star Child Tarot. If I had my other camera down here, I'd leave it up. That Queen of Crystals, so the Queen of Crystals, she's earth energy, yes. She's a nurturer, she's a lover, she's a provider. Yes, she represents Virgo, but she could in a way represent Libra. Now, Queen of Swords typically in the tarot represents Libra, but the reason why I believe that this is coming up for collective is the Queen of Pentacles finds the balance between how much she loves. She's not the Queen of Cups where she's pouring out love everywhere. Pouring out love everywhere. She's not the Queen of Swords where she's giving justice. She's not the Queen of Wands. It's all like, look at me, I'm awesome, I'm great. She brings it all together into a balanced lifestyle where she plants her seed, she receives her harvest, she gives, but not so much that she's going without. She gives from her abundance and not from her stores, if that makes sense. So let's get into this balance. So now if you're gonna say, Lisa, can you be a little bit practical and not so ethereal? Certainly I can. Practically, I say the first thing you need to do is the easiest thing to do. Look at your job and your career first. Is your job, your career feeding you? Is it fulfilling you? Is it satisfying you? Is it providing very well for you? Look at that first. If it's not, then start thinking about what can I do that's going to provide as well as fulfill. Start looking at your friendships. Are your friendships feeding you, or are they stealing from you? Period. Are your friends feeding you, or are they stealing from you? And if you start looking at your career and your job, and you start looking at your friends, ooh, they're not feeding you either. Well, what are they doing? What are they taking from you? How do you feel used? How do you feel misused and all of that? How are you feeling that way? In what fashion do they do it? Right? Because you're going to start to see a pattern. Look at your family. Which people in your family are the ones that you're just like, oh my gosh. You know, we all got some that we don't want to see on the holidays. You know, them certain ones or twos that you got to maybe invite them to your house, but you really ain't trying to see them. Or you really realize, I got to go to this, god darn it, hey, I said, I got to go to these folks' houses. I ain't trying to go to this house. I know that's my people. Yet now, I ain't the only one. Now, I know I ain't the only one. Y'all know what I'm talking about. But look at the family. Look at your interpersonal relationships with your family. Are you able to stand up for yourself? Or is this just like, are you able to put yourself here? Or do you always have to put everybody above you? And then look at your love life and things like that. And I left that for last because that's the hardest thing for a lot of us to look at. So if you are in a relationship, look at that. And I want you to start writing down, if you have to, pros and cons, what I get, what I give. Put it down. And look and then see what the pattern is. So for me, when I started doing this a long time ago, I looked and I said, okay, wait, in every aspect of my life, I give a lot. I'm always a fixer. I'm always the one people come to. Oh, I can't, and I immediately go into action and I make it all work. Or I help build you up, or whatever the case is. And then when it comes time to reciprocate, or people or the job or whatever, they would get to a certain level, I would end up getting discarded. That's deep to recognize, and which is why I'm not in a leadership role right now at work. I'm not trying to do that no more. Why? Because I know the pattern. I'm going to get in there and fix the whole thing up, make it all work well, and then somebody's going to get a bug up their butt, and then I'm not going to, I'll end up not with the job anymore. I now choose friends, close friends, that aren't always taking. I can't continue to be the fixer, because then I begin to resent it because I'm always giving, and I can't receive. Hello, Trine, how are you? I analyzed that. I looked at my friends, and then I had to look at my relationships. Now, some of us, the women folk in here, how many men have y'all dressed up, fixed up, cleaned up, and then they go on to great things and leave you sitting behind? Now, I might know a little bit about that, but I had to look at all those relationships. This time, Libra season, get your balance, find your balance. If you can look at and see and identify the patterns in your life, where your life is out of balance, then you could seek to heal that portion of your life. Why do I need to feel like a fixer? Holy crap, you know why I need to feel like a fixer? Because I didn't want to fix my gosh darn self. Because I felt awesome being a fixer. Because I felt great because I could do all this for other people. But I wasn't asking for enough for me. I wasn't setting proper boundaries. And when I don't set proper boundaries now, I get upset and pissed off. Operates right now. No problem, dear. But I have a Libra South node and an Aries North node. So this lifetime, I have to learn to put myself first and stop putting others first. Libra's like cohesiveness. Libra's like cooperation and all of this, like everybody working together and everything's happy. But if we're not getting enough out of that relationship, we're out of balance. Whenever you're putting too much in and not getting enough out. Now, what do you think this has to do with the spirit realm, Lisa? I'm going to take it one step higher. If you are not putting enough into your spiritual relationship with God, Creator, Master of all, choose a name. If you're not putting enough in, you will not get enough out. You cannot expect to pull the lever on the spiritual, what do they call those things? You know what I'm talking about. The machines, the slot machines. You can't pull the lever on the spiritual slot machine and expect to hit the jackpot when you ain't put a dime into the slot machine. You can't. You've put nothing in. So if we're not putting enough in to our spiritual walk, to our spiritual relationship, if we're not developing the relationship that our spirit wishes to have, because that's our true self, right? What we see here, this is the body we've chosen this go around. This body can change, will change. This is temporal. This body will die. Your spirit will live forever. So if you're not investing enough spiritually and becoming spiritually led and becoming spiritually balanced, you're going to be going through the last half of this Zodiac year and into 2020 on the calendar. And when the crap hits the fan, you're not going to have the discernment or the balance that you need, the foundation you need to weather the storm. You're not going to have it. We have got to become balanced in every area of our life and identify what within us triggers us to go into imbalance and heal that and deal with it. That's what I believe this Libra season is all about. Finding balance, finding beauty, finding love, finding peace, finding justice. Stop letting people trample all over you. Stop letting people use you. I don't care if it's at the job or it's in your home. I got ready to say in the bedroom, but I'm going to leave that one alone. I don't care where it is. You got to stop letting people do this and find the balance so that you're getting out of these situations and these relationships what you're putting in. And there may be a lot of areas that you need to be putting in more so that you can get the fullness of that abundance in that relationship. You can get a return on your investment. But if you are not investing anything, then you will get nothing. Stop letting people not invest in your relationship and still get paid out the jackpot. That's where I believe we should be here for Libra season. So as we're moving towards the full moon in Aries, if you're feeling like that, there's other planetary aspects we could talk about. I'm not going to necessarily get that deep, into that right now. It's not that type of conversation tonight. We'll get into that over on Patreon, I believe, because there's some things that I see collectively that could be coming to the forefront that I really feel like we need to be paying attention to. But there's other planetary aspects afoot. But just know, as you're coming into the full moon, because I believe the moon tonight is in Scorpio, I think, today. I didn't look. My bad. More and more is going to get brought to the surface about the people in our world. More and more is going to get brought up to the surface about your own self. If you're willing to see it. And if you'll notice, you're probably at a point now where you're just like, I really ain't got time for this monkey mess. Like, you just don't have time to be playing. I don't have time for the constant. I don't have time for it. I just don't. Come on now, figure it out. I don't have time for the take. and you're feeling and identifying people that just take. There's a reason for that, so that you can release them on the full moon. There's a reason you're seeing this, so you can release this need to put yourself down and release it and raise yourself up coming into this full moon season when we're to release. Yes? So it's getting to this like critical mass boiling point where the pot gonna boil over if we don't fix this now. And that's where I believe what we should be working on. Finding our balance, finding our foundation, having people in our lives that are going to help us, move us forward, doing work, having a career that's going to fulfill us, move us forward. And even if your daytime career, maybe it's a nighttime thing, whatever, but you got to be balancing yourself out. Yes, Quartz Quantum says, I am in a relationship with myself. It's really the best one to have anymore, in your humble opinion. And I will agree with your humble opinion, because I am in a wonderful relationship with myself. I love myself. And when you get in that relationship with yourself, then others don't have the opportunity to, you don't put others first. Not that you're not willing to help others, but you don't put others first at the detriment of yourself. And when you could be in a relationship with yourself, you could be in a very deep, close, intimate relationship with God, with the spirit realm. You can be at a point where you're hearing your spirit guides. You can be at a point where you're hearing your angels. You can be at a point where you're hearing your ancestors very clearly, because you're not having all these other voices come in and you got to deal with everybody else's garbage. You got to take your own garbage out, boo-boo. I can't take your garbage out no more. I can't do it. I need to be able to hear and be spirit-led and be self-partnered and whole and healed. That's being in balance, not in an imbalance. Okay, I was not going to be on here long. I did not want to keep you all long, and I did not. This is a great discussion. We're going to get into this discussion a little bit more when I come out and talk about the full moon in Aries. We'll be doing that probably this weekend. I want to get it done early. If you guys wish to, down there at the bottom is the patreon.com/Heart of Inspiration. That's the web address for my Patreon channel. We'll be doing our first Sunday kind of chitty chat, where we get into some things, some deeper things. You can be a patron for as little as $5 a month. And I will be putting up the monthly, we'll call them horoscopes this month. So we'll be putting up the monthly messages for the Zodiacs, and you'll get to see them first before I put them up on YouTube. And then we also have Heart of Inspiration on the other side there, .net. That's my website. Go to the website. I have a lot of free downloads. There you can order a full moon forecast or horoscope for yourself, and also a natal chart interpretation, natal chart reading. If you always wanted to understand a little bit more about your natal chart, if you know your time of birth, date of birth, the place of birth, you can order one of those. I think it's just $19.95. It's not that much, but you'll get an intuitive also reading along with it. So I'll take it, look at it, meditate, pray. We will find out intuitively a little more insight into who you are, where you are. A lot of times when I'm doing those, guys, the natal chart interpretations, what starts coming to me is past life progressions and things like that. It gets really deep. So I really enjoy that. And then with the full moon forecast for the full moon in Aries, you can start ordering that for $19.95 as well. And that there, if I have your natal chart, we'll talk about how it's going to transit your natal. How is it going to affect you on a personal level. We can do it collectively, but how is it going to affect you? As well as if you wanted any other readings or anything like that. Okay, guys, I'm going to let y'all go because I'm going to get ready to go to work tomorrow, honey. Yes, Mama's got to go to work. Thank you so much for joining me. I really do appreciate it. We will see you all tomorrow night. I don't know what we're going to do tomorrow night. We'll figure it out. No, we're going to do probably a little bit more teaching, a little more on the astrological side of life. So we'll be with you guys tomorrow night. Peace, love, blessings, and joy be unto you today, tomorrow, and for all eternity. I love each and every one of you. Namaste. Bye-bye.